Dear Pixie, you asked us, is there such a thing as the God particle? And if so, has it been discovered, or will it be discovered, and can it be communicated with? From your perspective, the God particle exists. It has been discovered to a certain extent, and it can most definitely be communicated with. So too, from our perspective, the God particle exists. From our perspective, it has been discovered, and it is communicated with consciously. From the truest reality, or should we say, from the perspective of the God particle itself, its existence is unknown. The God particle seeks to define itself, to understand itself, to know itself, with its ultimate search being to discover if it is conscious. You, humanity in third density on Earth, are very much a part of this ultimate search, and many times have you throughout your history provided essential experience towards the answering of this ultimate question. However, the God particle is an infinite, fractal, holographic replica of itself. Therefore, the ultimate question, is there such a thing as the God particle, can never be answered. Truth always holds paradox. This is the way it is. From your perspective, however, the answer is a definite yes. Will science ever prove its existence? Science will prove aspects of its existence, yes. Its full existence can never be proven because of the never-ending ultimate question. Can you explain what Christ consciousness means? Christ consciousness is a vibration, a frequency. This frequency flows through everyone and everything. An individual in third density may attain Christ consciousness when they reach a certain level of conscious spiritual awareness within a service to others path. This is the individual who is consciously co-creating their own realities, and thus the reality that is in alignment with the creative energy of the one divine source. Christ consciousness is touched upon by the majority of individuals in their lifetimes when they take time to help another or feel compassion for another. As you progress along the spiritual service to others path, you embrace more and more of this Christ consciousness vibration until such a time as you are living within this frequency the majority of the time. At this point, you have raised your consciousness and light quotient, and this can be seen by sensitive individuals, and it can be seen by us. The ascension on your earth is a time of heightened Christ consciousness, as many individuals collectively attain this level of light and love, and live by this in their daily lives. The more individuals that embrace this frequency and live within this frequency, then the more Christ consciousness is available to be embraced. Can you tell me how to use a crystal ball? The crystal ball holds consciousness and awareness, and is a tool that can aid in many aspects, but especially in remote viewing and in speeding up or focusing, shall we say, of what you know as the law of attraction. The crystal ball responds to the individual in its care, or, from your perspective, from its owner. A crystal ball is activated when one of like frequency comes into contact with it, hence why the crystal ball appears to do nothing for some individuals, and is such a powerful tool and indeed a great, loving friend for others. Crystal balls respond better, or rather are activated in the most aligned way, when they work one-to-one with one individual or group consciousness, rather than being passed from person to person or group to group. However, when overseen by their owner, the individual in the care of the crystal ball, then the ball will respond well in a group setting. The crystal, as a living consciousness, learns to love, trust and work for its owner. Crystal balls retain the frequency of its lifetime's workings, and this can be consciously preserved as the ball is passed down through the family, or as the ball chooses its new owner. If you feel called by a crystal ball or any other crystal, then this is the resonance frequency you have attained at that point in your life, meaning you are ready to work with crystal and be able to activate its properties. We, from our perspective, would liken the crystal to an organic computer that holds emotion, and the one that activates the crystal is the computer programmer who understands that particular software. Therefore, we cannot tell you how to use the crystal ball. If you are resonating within the correct frequency for a crystal ball, then the ball itself will teach you. Watch how some children, very young human children, instinctively know how to work with crystals. They do not need to be taught, for their own resonance with the crystal is enough to show them the way. When we ascend, most of us see it as a death process. But will it simply happen like a death experience? Or is it also possible for other scenarios to occur, like that your galactic space family comes down to help you and takes you on board the ship and brings you to your ascension process? From our perspective, we do not see that most of you, as a collective humanity, see the ascension experience as a death process. The death process is misunderstood by the majority of humanity, and the ascension process is not something the majority are consciously aware of. There are those that fully understand the death process, and from that level they can see the similarity and connection between death and ascension. They can also see how these processes are very different. Human death is the leaving of the physical body to enter the antimatter realm. Ascension is the retaining of the physical body as antimatter and matter realms are blended. It may be for some that they will indeed be going on board a ship, as you put it. This can be taken literally and metaphorically, depending on the individual. However, it will not be the ship that brings you to your ascension process. Your ascension process is triggered only by you, and a great many of you have already begun this process, many unaware of this. Amongst those that are aware are the group steering the ship, shall we say. These conscious co-creators of the ascension process are not bringing you to your ascension, but are pointing it out to you, making you aware of the process that you alone created. Does one have the choice on ascension? And if so, how can one best prepare and create that experience for itself to ascend when it's time for the individual to join the galactic society? Yes, one has the choice. For many the choice was made from your perspective prior to your incarnation. This still gives you free will to choose, as it were, even whilst in incarnation. Many who are unaware have still made the choice by their thoughts, words and deeds. Many who make a conscious decision to take an ascension path are affirming a choice they know they already made. That affirmation is the act of surrender. The surrender to the greater will, the will of the higher self, knowing all the while that surrender equals empowerment and opens the path to self-mastery. The best preparation is to work on yourself, to walk through life accepting challenges with thanks and grace, and acting in alignment with the higher aspect and walking within integrity. This can be translated to mean, be a nice person, a good person, or treat others as you would want to be treated yourself. An important aspect of this preparation is to understand this path is indeed a challenging one, and to love and forgive yourself as you act from third density emotion or ego along the way, for the majority of you will. Yet if each act that comes from third density emotion or ego is learned from, then that in itself is remaining in alignment with the higher aspect and walking within integrity. The ingredients needed for ascension preparation are not to be perfect, but to be human, realizing, and living the divinity within, and accepting what you would perceive as making mistakes along the way. The ingredients needed for ascension preparation are not the shedding or transcending of the ego, but the integration of the ego, realizing it is the ego that has provided you with the ability to recognize and see the divinity within yourself, even whilst it appears on the surface to be in opposition to that divinity. If this path is walked, then when it is time to join the Galactic Society, you will be ready. We are the white-winged collective consciousness of 9.